This is Crime, Mr. Wade, bringing you the stories. Stay tuned for a lot more. Today's unfortunate story is about Lisa Marie Montgomery. She was a convicted murderer in the year of 2004. She attacked and killed a 23-year-old pregnant woman. She then cut the unborn child from the womb of the woman. The woman had been pregnant for nearly 8 months. The child survived and was given to his father. In the year 2007, Montgomery confessed to the crime. She was sentenced to death. She was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder. During her childhood, she had been sexually abused for years. She also had other conditions. These included post-traumatic stress disorder, psychosis, dissociative identity disorder, and amnesia. Based on these conditions, her lawyers argued that she was severely handicapped. They said that she should have not been tried in a regular court. On January 13, 2021, she was executed by lethal injection. Experts have looked at the case after she had been convicted. They found that at the time of the crime, she had suffered from psychosis. Montgomery had a bad childhood. Her stepfather raped her for years. At a young age, she started drinking alcohol. When Montgomery was 14 years old, her mother discovered the alcohol abuse. Instead of helping her, her mother threatened her with a gun. From her early teen years, her mother forced her to prostitute herself. Montgomery told people about her situation, but no one seemed to help. Montgomery tried to escape the situation. She married twice. Her first marriage happened when she was 18 years old. Each of her marriages led to more abuse. As a result of a lifetime of abuse, Montgomery mistrusted men in general. Both of her husbands said that she had falsely claimed to be pregnant several times. Montgomery had just 4 children. Bobbie Jo was an American 23-year-old pregnant woman who was murdered in Skidmore, Missouri in December in the year of 2004. The perpetrator, Lisa Marie Montgomery, then aged 36 years old, strangled Stinnett to death and cut her fetus 8 months into gestation from her womb. Montgomery was arrested in Kansas the next day and charged with kidnapping resulting in death, a federal crime. Stinnett's baby was safely recovered by authorities and returned to the father. Bobbie Jo Stinnett was born on December 4th, 1981. Graduated from Norway Holt High School in Graham, Missouri in the year 2000. Stinnett and her husband ran a dog breeding business from their residence in Skidmore. Stinnett and Montgomery had met through dog show events and had ongoing interaction in an online rat terrier chat room called Ratter Chatter. Miss Montgomery told Miss Stinnett that she was pregnant too, leading to the two women chatting online and exchanging emails about their pregnancies. On December 16th, year 2004, Montgomery entered Stinnett's house and murdered her by strangulation. Montgomery had then cut Stinnett's unborn child from her womb and fled the scene. There were no sign of forced entry. Authorities believe that Montgomery, posing as a customer, Darlene Fisher, had arranged to visit Stinnett's house on that day. It's known that Stinnett was expecting the arrival of prospective buyers for a terrier at her home in Skidmore at about the time of her murder. Stinnett was discovered by her mother, Becky Harper, lying in a pool of blood approximately an hour and a half of the murder. Harper immediately called authorities and described the wounds inflicted upon her daughter as appearing as if her stomach had exploded. Paramedics were unsuccessful in attempts to revive Stinnett, and she was pronounced dead at St. Francis Hospital in Murrayville. Montgomery allegedly called her husband, Kevin, that same day around 5:15 p.m., saying that on a shopping trip to Topeka, she had gone into labor and given birth. The following day, on December 17th, police arrested Montgomery at her farmhouse in Melbourne, Kansas. A witness would later report that on the morning before her arrest, Montgomery looked and took an infant, her husband, and 2 teenage sons to a restaurant for breakfast. Police had initially gone to Montgomery's home after tracing online communications to her IP address, hoping to interview her as a witness. When they arrived, they found a car matching the description of one of the crime scene, and when they entered the home, they found Montgomery inside, holding the infant and watching television. Montgomery was arrested an hour later after her story fell apart, and she confessed. The kidnapped newborn, whom she claimed as her own, was recovered and soon placed in custody of the father. The quick recovery and capture was attributed to the use of forensic computer investigations, which tracked Montgomery and Stinnett's online communication. The investigation was aided by the issuance of an Amber Alert to enlist the public's help. The alert was initially denied as it had been used before in an unborn child's case, and thus there was no description of the victim. Eventually, after intervention by Congressman Sam Graves, the alert was implemented. DNA testing was used to confirm the infant's identity. Miss Montgomery had 4 children before she underwent a tubal litigation in 1990. She falsely claimed to be pregnant several times after the procedure, according to both her first and second spouses. At the time of her arrest, authorities speculated that Montgomery's motivation stemmed from a miscarriage she may have had suffered and subsequently concealed from her family. Prosecutors alleged that her former husband planned to reveal she had lied about being pregnant in an effort to get custody of her children, speculating that Montgomery needed to produce a baby to counter this charge of habitual lying about pregnancy. Montgomery was charged with federal offense of kidnapping resulting in death, a crime established by the Federal Kidnapping Act of 1932 and described in Title 18 of the United States Code. If convicted, she faced a sentence of life imprisonment or the death penalty. A pre-trial hearing of a neurophysiologist testified the head injuries, which Montgomery had sustained some years before, could have damaged the part of her brain that controls aggression. During her trial, federal court, her defense attorneys, led by Frederick Duchart, asserted that she had pseudoesis, a mental condition that causes a woman to falsely believe she is pregnant and exhibited outward signs of pregnancy. According to Duchart, attempted to follow the line of defense only 1 week before the trial began, after being forced to abandon a contradictory argument that Stinnett was murdered by Montgomery's brother Tommy, who had an alibi. As a result, Montgomery's family refused to cooperate with Duchart and described her background to the jury. On October 22nd, year 2007, jurors found Montgomery guilty, rejecting the defense claim that Montgomery was delusional. On October 26th, the jury recommended the death sentence. Judge Gary A. Fenner formally sentenced Montgomery to death on April 4th, the year of 2008. Experts who examined Montgomery after conviction concluded that by the time of her crime, she had long been living with psychosis, bipolar disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorders. She was said to be often disassociated from reality and to have permanent brain damage from numerous beatings at the hands of her parents and spouses. Miss Montgomery was executed by lethal injection on January 13, 2021 at the United States Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. When asked if she had any last words, she replied, "No." She was pronounced dead at 1:31 a.m. Montgomery became the first female federal prisoner executed in 67 years. The first woman executed in the United States since Kelly Giselander in 2015, and the first person executed in the United States in the year of 2021. Only 3 other women have been executed by the U.S. federal government. Mary Surratt by hanging in 1865, Ethel Rosenberg by electric chair in 1953, and Bonnie Heady by gas chamber also in 1953. Montgomery's execution was followed a day later by Corey Johnson and 3 days later by Dustin Higgs. All 3 were carried out by the United States federal government, each being controversial for a variety of reasons.
Really did. She had that internal flow. She doesn't get that opportunity to hold her baby because that woman took that right away from her. I can't even comprehend what Bobbie's family went through.
I hope you enjoyed this unfortunate story. I, Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. Once again, we bring it to you.